14 spells.
Welcome, everybody, to the Quack and Smite League Season 5 Kraken Playoffs. If I saw it correctly, we have one semifinals done, but this is the other one we've got, which is going to be the Land Barons versus the Emperors. And of course, casting with me, King Batu, is going to be Elite Sniper 180. How are you feeling for this matchup here?
I am wonderful. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm really excited. You know, we've got the Land Barons with Bobby Bobfish, aka Sandman Samuel, and his squad. And then on the other side, we have the Emperors, right? Am I just drawing a blank? No, I'm correct. Yeah, Emperors. So should be really good. With this being the Kraken, our highest division, you know, our Masters, you know, and up kind of division. Who do you expect to see be some of these kind of picks and bans that are going to be prioritized?
As far as bans, I see a lot of mages getting banned, especially as high pressures like the Persephones, the Zeuses, the Agnes, the Thoths, the Souls. And then a couple of the assassins like the Cleos and the Bastet being prioritized bans or picked up. I don't like to see Shiva banned because I think he's very underestimated right now. Like, as in a bad way. I don't think he's as good as what people think he is. Because Curse Ankh is in the meta.
Yeah, he does have a lot of that healing in that kit, but I'll kind of take a counterpoint there. I think Shiva is insane. Just the double knockup, can't DR either of those knockups with that CC on his combo. I think is very difficult, and just as a character to try to eliminate that 6 seconds of CC immunity on the ult plus that double dash that untargetable makes him a very difficult character to deal with. But, I mean, with that, there's also, if you're going to play him, are you going to put him in the solo lane or in the jungle? There's a lot of flex, I think, with him, very similar to Gilgamesh of where we're going to see him in the meta. But I also think we might see a lot of jungle bans, particularly as, Hebo with his root off his 3, got that bit of a quality of life buff. It's a buff. Don't argue with me there. Cabraka, we've seen a lot of that sort of different picks. And then, of course, just as all the assassins we've seen with the strength of their items as well as their kits.
Mm-hmm. As far as Shiva, he is a lot better in the jungle than he is in the solo lane right now. Because a lot of these solo laners that are liking to go now, like the assassin picks and the guardians. Sure, he's gonna win lane, but when it comes to team fight, these guardians and assassins are gonna just kill him off pretty easily.
Yeah, well, with these P's and B's we're seeing, Medusa picked first overall, and then has been answered by a Gilgamesh, Agni, Ganesha, so nothing super crazy. Pretty standard bands as well. Persephone, Cleo, that one that's missing there for the Land Barons is Shiva. Doesn't have the icon, I don't believe. On the other side, a little bit more of those kind of picky and choosy bands you get from that first pick, the Bastet, Zeus, and Artio as they round out their top 3 with a Thoth and Cabrakan to go alongside that petrifying gaze of the Medusa.
Agree.
Second band phase we got here. We've got the Bellona as well as now the Osiris band away here. Looking more towards that solo lane. Some very strong picks. But on the other side, a little bit more flexibility as they ban the Daji and the Kepri. As they do lock in the Camazotz here, which I'm assuming then you're going to probably, like myself, think the Camazotz is going to be in the solo and the Gilg in the jungle, or do you like it the other way around?
Either way is really good. Gilgamesh is a little bit lackluster in the solo lane right now, but he's still doable. And then Camazotz in the jungle's a lot of fun because you get to keep his passive stack 24/7 compared to in the solo lane. But he's still really dominant in the solo lane.
Yeah, we did see Panatom way back at Season 8 finals being able to absolutely just survive on that pick. So always a difficult pick to deal with. And very interesting one we have here for the Land Barons is there's not a whole lot of CC immunity. You got, Agni, Gilgamesh, Ganesha that don't have any. Camazotz obviously has that bat out of hell, but does make them pretty vulnerable. But it's also matched very much on the other side. Cabrakan, Thoth, Yamoja, also a very much lack of CC immunity as well. So definitely some high execution picks, which is what you love to see at our highest level of competition.
100%. I like the fact that we see a Sungwoo playing safe in the lane, but it's going to bring a lot to this team fight stage and early rotations pretty well. The Cabrakan in jungle is going to be good lockdown, especially for the Agni. The Agni and Rom, he's going to be able to definitely lock down as we see a Rom get picked up. The only one that he's going to have to worry about is Ganesh into Cabrakan makes Cabrakan feel pretty bad.
Yeah, it definitely can, and especially with the the Phantom and Shell being combined together with that emoji to go aside the Kraken. I'm definitely gonna expect at least one for sure, if not even maybe even one of these backliners getting themselves a Phantom Shell. Is that Phantom Shell can really make it difficult for this Kraken to do damage. Obviously, he's still gonna be able to get that CC really well, but with that Rama to round out the draft here, we got the Land Barons fully up here, and we do have Uh, the Emperors here as well. Two very strong drafts. I mean, very, got some good strong meta picks, the Emoja, Kabrak, and some walls, and then you have the good long range from the Thoth and the Medusa backline. But on the other side, you've got some just as strong of dive. This Gilgamesh Kamazotz is going to be really hard to peel off. You're going to have Rama and Agni that can do that, those artillery backliners, so that Rama ult into the skies, as well as this Ganesha that can play dive or play peel. Who are you kind of favoring in going into this game one?
I'm gonna have to say the Land Barons because they bring a lot of team fight to the table. As long as Kabrakan can get into that backline without Ganesh oming him, and then as of yesterday, I'm a believer of Umoja now. So
Yeah, Umoja, a very strong character, and I think one of the highest skill ceiling characters of any backline. And if you missed it, I don't know if you were talking about SPL, but watching Genetics play this yesterday, where he was not healing, not throwing any sort of stuns, but just bouncing people with that Riptide back towards him, just catching people off and just making an absolute nightmare for people to go around. And it's definitely that high skill ceiling for that character, but this is the Kraken division, our highest division. This is where you want to see that most experience, and where you expect a lot of that as masters and up players and that sort of thing. But with that being said, I think there's some great ways to apply that anti-heal on the other side, which might become a bit of a factor in these team fights of where Umoja really, puts those abilities. Is it for just kind of that healing and shielding, or is she going to use for more of that, CC utility with the other abilities?
yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, they can spread a lot of anti-heal on the side of the Emperors. So it's going to be a lot of hopefully Umoja just be able to displace stuff and then heal when out of fights, even though there's still going to be that little debuff, but it's not as going to be as big as a Divine, a Pesty on top of you.
And I was going to say, as far as these FG fights, I could see both teams wanting to just kind of go to that, 15, 20-minute dance, but I don't really see any team having any advantage there either. Outside of, Thoth and Agni, no team really has some great poke. I mean, you could argue, Kamazotz, Wukong, that sort of thing, but that's, one or two abilities. So really, it's going to come down to these mages. I think if we get to those team fight stages of who's going to be able to put the most pressure, set up their team to, get that, one person down to, 60, 50% HP to give an easy dive, or, catch out a tank and get them low to really swing these fights. If we get to that stage, obviously we do have some pieces. Thoth from ahead is probably one of the most oppressive mages just because of that passive Agni can be very difficult to deal with ahead. Medusa, Kabrakan, they're just a great setup there. So ganking from that side will also be very difficult as well. So there's definitely some pieces where they can get, a big lead. As we know, Smite in this season, it can be very snowbally up until that 15, 20-minute mark. But I could also see this being a very, grindy sort of slugfest on the other side as well.
100%. I agree. Also, I was going to go back to when you talked about the Fire Giant and Gold Fury fights. It's going to come down to the mages. I'm going to agree with you on that too. But also, it's going to come down to Grave and Moose on these walls. If they can wall off the enemies and split them up so it forces only a couple to jump in, they can just burn them down and then go back onto the objectives.
Yeah, which definitely can be a little bit difficult. Ganesha with that dash can dash through these walls, so they need to make sure they're playing it around that dash carefully. Because if they can catch this Ganesha out, even with beads, put these walls up. If he doesn't have that Phantom Shell, up until late game, it's definitely going to be very difficult for them to have to get through. But I think we are in game and loaded up here, and be able to see game one here of the Kraken's division. Land Barons and Emperors will go into the final. This is the semifinals matchup here. So should be an exciting to see is items coming off the rip. The only thing that really catches my eye is those solo lane starters. We got Axe on one side and Bluestone on the other.
Mm-hmm. Axe is very weird to see on Kamazotz because usually when you see a Kamazotz player, you're gonna see Bluestone or you're gonna see Sigil. Not really much of Axe anymore nowadays.
Yeah, and I think Axe still is really good, but I think it's that style of play that he's going for here. Is you've got that stealing a health late game going into that, Sundering Axe, able to steal that health away, restore it to yourself, makes it a lot easier to sustain in these fights. And so I think he's going to play a little bit more of a slower fight. Corbin is on this. Camazot's just go for a little bit more poke, play to be, a distraction. As Camazot doesn't have any CC. He's got a lot of damage, maybe is slow if you really want to get super technical, but when you're going after, both of these backliners who have dashes, these riptides that can move not just the emoji but the team, Kraken with that, slow immunity, you don't exactly have a lot of, lockdown for this other team. So I do kind of like it. We'll see if it pays off. But anything else as far as these builds standing out in particular for you, Cypher?
Not really. We see the Ganesh obviously with the shell, like you said, the walls are going to come in handy. But I'm surprised not to see a frenzy on to the emoji. She just opted for the sprint.
Yeah, which I kind of like, because you got the Gilgamesh wins the Shamash, as well as you do have these Dharmic pillars that, sure, you got the Prot Shred, the Gilgamesh ult that can root you after, eternity of going off, but I do like this sprint because it's not going to help against one, but against the other. And when you've got, a Rama ulting you and Agni trying to ult you from range, that little bit of movement speed might come in handy. So we'll definitely be able to see some potential value here. After wave 1, we do see that the emoji pressure does kind of fall off. A little bit of pressure for the Emperors, but potential rotation, actually counter rotation here, as we now see 4 of the Emperors here. They'll kick into the wall, onto the Thoth, greeds the beads, and that silence. He knows he's dead. Effective will go down for first blood of our semifinals matchup.
And then it looks like Gilgamesh is going to fall as well with a great root by Medusa into the Trimmers.
Yeah, doesn't have that leap, will not have a life, and didn't tick over to level 3, which Kraken did. Looks like they did get those oracles before that happened, so able to hit that level 3. So able to trade out 1 for 1, but Agni getting first blood, your Thoth falling, your Medusa getting the kill, you're into a Rama, so I don't know how much pressure that matchup in particular gets, but if I'm the Emperors, I think I won that trade, and I'm taking that every time.
Yeah, and that was very good knowledge by the Emperors. As we see,
Rom get blinked
on.
Poor Fool's Idol, no rollout, no life. Blink from the Kraken, able to set him up, and now we might see a little bit of value starting to come for this Medusa. Not able to get 1, but now 2 kills. This Kraken jungle getting both, and that's right as the purple buff timer spawns, so they'll be able to get that invade, clear wave, go back and get their own, and really not have to worry about any loss of camps here.
Also want to throw out, I think
Wukong
stole the blue, but he might not get out with his life.
He shouldn't, as he's going back and forth. He has the mana for the ult, but opts to dash instead, and it looks like they're just going to let him go as he's made it to his Kraken here, able to secure his own blue buff, but looks like they are going to be securing their own now, unless Kraken has anything to say about it, as he will steal it away with the 1-2 combo. And I'd say you need to be worried, but Kama and Gilgamesh have no mana, so he's able to bounce on out of there with the invade successful.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm sure your Thoth might have fell early, but both your side lanes have gotten ahead now. With that blue buff invade going wrong, and then them also losing their blue buff. And then also the kill on the Rom, and then the Medusa getting the second kill onto the Gilgamesh was really good.
Yeah, we haven't even seen this Kraken hit level 5 yet, so those walls are still going to be able to come through on this gank, and honestly, I'm hopefully going to see him put a lot of pressure in this mid or this ADC lane, because that's really going to be where he's going to get most value out of those walls. Camazotz and Gilger should be able to jump out of it, same with the Ganesha, so really you're going to be looking for this mid carry to be the ones you're going to be able to get it on, which obviously is going to be kind of your prio targets to begin with, but should be just that much easier if he gets those walls down. However, we do see some pressure in mid as Dragon feels the wrath of those walls, not able to go anywhere, and Effective able to get a kill back, as now it is 3 kills for the Land Barons, although they're only up about 700 gold right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a start. You got to start somewhere at least. I mean, they're starting to get that lead, get that momentum that they need. Getting that Thoth ahead now. Well, probably now. Yeah, now ahead because he just ticked over to 7. Now level head on this Agni.
Gilgamesh needs to be careful here. Is a lot of damage from this Thoth dash coming through. He misses though, and the drop kick into the Dharmic Pillars is going to do a lot of damage to the Medusa, but just no other follow-up as Agni had just respawned. Yemoji here to make sure her team will get the backs off and is going to take some poke. A lot of her HP is going to be gone, but should be able to make it out as Medusa's still here. Misses the dash and will eat part of an Agni bomb here, but should be able to get out. But oh, a Rama ult from far might be able to turn this. Only hits one of the snipes, but that dash and the stun will set up that 2 for the Agni to get a kill back, bring this lead back a bit, and keeping it pretty even here so far through the game, but does need to be careful in this mid lane. His Thoth is probably a little bit better of an artillery mage, not having used that ultimate as he tries to charge it up, but not able to get it all. That dash missed by Ganesh means he might get turned on here. Ult used, but no tremors to keep him locked in. The Thoth all off the mark on the Agni, which means there might be a turn onto this Kraken here. As Gilgamesh getting a lot of damage, but so is this Thoth. The tremors are not going to be able to get off. Good cancellation there on the dash from Scream. But Thoth needs to be careful here. Does have his Yemoja. As Agni Dragon will 3 the wave and walk away. And hopefully finally back as another missed dash there from the Thoth. Should be the end of things. Is a lot of back and forth slapping here in mid lane.
Yeah. Seems like it's going to be an arena fight type of game so far. There's been a lot of fighting happening just in 6 minutes.
Yeah, not exactly where you expected. This solo lane, both solo laners are 0, 0, and 0 so far. As although Cam is starting to get a little bit of pressure here on this Wukong, will dash back to the safety of his tower as his blue buff does respawn. Going that Soul Eater, so definitely feeling that little bit of that, struggle early game for that item to come online. Meanwhile, Camazotz already has the full Blackthorn. That axe given a lot of value already, so already getting that pressure. And of course, it's a Camazotz. He's already got that built-in healing. Doesn't necessarily need to go that Soul Eater. He's probably going to see him go a Transcendence here soon. And then as I'm looking in the items here, in the mid lane, Dragon already feeling a lot of this pressure. Going for the Obshard's second item as Kama's going to get a little bit of pressure here. Nice ultimate. Forced out of there from the stun. Not wanting to use those beads. And it's right as his blue buff's coming up. So probably we'll see this get stolen away by the Land Barons. Running him off as Wukong secures it. And that will be the stack of his Soul Eater. Meanwhile, this is going on. Not really seeing any pressure. Looks like they might have tried to pressure this Medusa, who goes for the Crusher, standard Crusher start. And on the other side, Fool's Idol on this Rama, going for the Ichavols with the Gilded Arrow. So probably going to see a bit of a crit build coming out from him.
Yep, and he's trying to look to see if he can try to outbox this Medusa early with those 2 items. As if there's any chance those 2 items are going to give it to him.
Yeah, definitely want to make sure that, hey, don't box me. Just let me farm up. Let me get to my late game Rama things. I think Rama has a little bit better of a power spike as far as just autos go outside of the kit, just because he's a little bit more of an auto attacker. As Grave will dash, only catches the Yemoja though. Some ults coming down. Wins the Smash, comes down as his ult goes off, and the blink in by Kraken should be able to save his life as he does fall to effect there on the back end. Scream will also fall low at the start of the fight as Medusa rotated over 2 for 0 off of a fight that the Emperors took.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a counter engage to another counter engage. It was a good fight. It looked like a good Emperor's fight. And then you just saw Kraken blink in, and then the Mojo Wall come up.
And Kraken will blink in again. He's going to try to wait out these walls, but the walls will not be down when he lands, which means another kill for this Medusa. 4-1-1, 9 kills, just ticked over to 9 minutes, and honestly, it's starting to pay off. Land Barons now have about a 1,500 gold lead with just off of these buff invades of blue and purple consistently, so they are starting to see some value from these invades.
You start losing those buffs. I mean, it doesn't impact you as much early, but the more it keeps stealing, the less you're gonna feel good about yourself.
Yeah, and as Camazons. Corbin finally able to get his own blue buff, as unfortunately for not Grave, he's not able to be at purple and blue at the same time, so he's going to have to give one of those up, which is the blue buff here. But a little bit of a fight now as Wukong is rotated over. Nice drop kick to say, get back, you don't know me like that. I'm going to leap over to my back camps here for more Squatch, as he's should be safe, as there's a lot of abilities being thrown out here. Not a whole lot getting picked up here. There's Blobby Blobfish looking at some back camps that are not up, which means he might lose this wave into his tower. But all in all, a little bit of poke, a little bit of back and forth, not really anything gained, as Camo might look to rotate here, get a little bit of poke on the Kraken, but he is going to run into the Thoth, who is going to dash back towards the safety of his own jungle. And he get it secured, but we'll lose priority on that mid wave. So a lot of posturing right now. Or I'll say posturing, because there's a lot of missed abilities that probably have to do with it. But it does look like a grouping from the Emperors around this Gold Fury. Yamoja ult not back up. Other than that, full ults for everybody. Pretty much only relics missing is the beads on this Rama. As now there's a bit of aggression here onto Corbin, but able to use those camps very well, as Thoth is already pretty low. But there's a blinking by the Kraken onto the backline. He gets stunned out, bounced around as he will fall. But this Yamoja ult, beautifully done, is going to trap so many of them in the back. Bobby Blobfish is going to be able to dunk down on War Squatch to make it a 1-for-1 trade. And this, with that Yamoja ult, is going to turn this fight very quickly. Agni in the front going to be able to peel for his backline with some damage. And a lot of low HP bars, but jungler for jungler at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that fight came out pretty even because neither Grave or War was ahead. But it was a good engage, and then a good disengage from the Emperors too. So it was a good engage by Land Barons, good disengage by Emperors.
Yeah, and it would have been better not for a beautiful Yamoja ult, able to throw that Riptide and keep both War Squatch, and I believe that was Rama in there as well with Scream. Like, there was 2 or 3 people stuck in that Yamoja ult, just eating all that Thoth damage off the backside, and definitely made sure that they could trade out evenly there, because if they don't get War Squatch, they could probably look towards, if not the Gold Sphere, at least a Pyromancer with some sort of advantage, as Gilgamesh, after getting those mid camps, will leap away to safety. And as these builds are starting to come through, only real difference in the mid builds is there's an early Ob Shard here for Dragon, trying to get the most damage onto these tanks that are going to be running at them. Celestial Legion Helm here for Grave. Sovereignty Rush for Enraged Moose. Meanwhile, Scream going for a little bit of self CC deal reduction, as he goes for that Spirit Rope right after the Thebes.
Yeah, which is a kind of greedy in a way for a support player to pick a robe up that early that isn't the one that stacks. I can't think of the name right now. The one that stacks.
Urchin.
Yeah, Urchin. So I'm a believer of the Urchin. I love Urchin. If you can get it online and stack it, it's good. But that's like the only one that I like to see early.
Yeah, well, Rama getting, or Thoth getting a lot of pressure here. He will fall to War Squatch, gifting that gifted kill over here from the Ganesha. Kraken zoning while his duo lane is on the Gold Fury. Land Barons will secure it, but don't know what cost as he misses the drop kick. The Petrify able to do a ton of damage. Grave will get the last hit with that Tremors, and now it's looking really bad here for them. But oh, nice double stun, able to peel. Fool's Idol ran the other way, so he will fall as well. But Land Baron's able to get a 2-for-1 and the Gold Fury off the back of that fight.
That fight going the way of the Land Barons. Sure, you lost your mid lane, but you got the gold plus the ADC, and then War Squatch is obviously down yet again into that gray screen.
Yeah, he is 3-for-4, so he's getting a decent bit, and still on level with Grave on this Kraken, who's only 1, 2, and 8. Both junglers kind of playing setup in a way where Squatch is kind of getting the last hits on these, although I think at least one of those, if not 2, have been gifted by the Ganesha passive, so maybe a little bit still being set up there. But something I want to note here is 5 of the 9 kills here are on this Medusa. So a lot of this lead is in that dual lane. 3-level lead, because if you look on the other side, Scream's got a 2-level lead in support. You do have that 2-level lead in mid and solo. So I guess all of your lanes are ahead a bit, but a good portion of that gold value too is going to be on Rykerj on this Medusa here. Is a little bit of pressure onto the Thoth, but that evade and punish very well used.
And yeah, that lead on Medusa just feels good since she's the most aggressive ADC in my opinion this season. Abusing these items and able to do what she needs to do really well. Especially going this crit build, I think she does crit really well with the Viper shots.
Yeah, with that, nice double stun by Gilgamesh, just to put a little bit of pressure off until Agni gets back to lane. But 4 here grouped up for the Land Barons. Only 3 right now for the Emperors, as they do look to be ganking around. Oh, that Agni dash might be his demise here. Misses the stun. Nice Gilgamesh ult, but just too much damage. Not Grave does get the last hit. Gilgamesh going onto this Thoth, but just doesn't have the damage with his mid gone. He'll be able to dash out of that Winds of Samashis. Now Medusa and Camazotz are here, but he's got so much damage on the back end, but he's just kind of using it to zone away. Roma going up into the air. Hits a shot or two, but not on anybody in range. And here's where we see the power of that Yemoja healing, able to sustain up as they start looking for this T2. I say T2, but they're going to grab Scream on this Ganesha. Lazy backing in the way. And War Squatch jumps in and will also fall.
I just want to say these Rivers Rebukes have been amazing to watch. Enraged Moose has been placing them so well. Granted, maybe like just in that fight, he just got War Squatch, but no one could help him.
Yeah, definitely.
And Corbin had to sit there and watch.
Yeah, definitely making sure that these Rivers of Rebuke, this is how you want to play Sim Emoji, folks. Split up the fight, give your team an advantage, make sure that it is an uneven fight in your guys' favor. And he's doing a wonderful job at doing that. And haven't need to see him use it as engage, as the Emperors have been, despite being behind for a good portion a lot of this game, has been very much on the aggression for a lot of it. And at this point now, 7.5k gold down, 10k XP. I mean, they're pretty much now down in levels pretty much everywhere except for support, which I'd say this is the least important level disparity. Once you hit that level 12, get both relics online. So now, as the Emperors, you're 7k down. Where exactly are you looking to try to get back into this game?
I mean, you're looking to farm. You're looking to ward deep and try to see if you can strip farm away. And then also set up for them objectives. But don't be the first ones there. Try to set up like a steal or maybe like a re-engage while they're taking this Fire Giant and losing some of that health bars during to the Fire Giant.
Yeah, and that's going to be pretty difficult, as we've already mentioned on end. This Yemoja with that healing is going to be able to keep your team up for a good while, which is going to make it very difficult for that, as we do see a group in here on this left side jungle. Gold is still down. Oni will be coming up shortly. Pyromancer also done off the back end of that fight by the Emperors, but they're going to strip some of these fruit, get their own scepter up there, that nice little jungle stick, which can heal towers. Keep that in mind as well, folks. So even if they still have just these T1s in mid and in ADC up, they might be able to heal them up a little bit, make them a little bit harder to siege if they do have some sort of maybe split push or even, bar, losing the FG in their current state of leading this game.
At this point, I mean, we're seeing one of the best Furies, in my opinion, the Oni Fury about to spawn, so I expect to see a fight here. I would feel bad if the Emperors lose that, because I would just set up a Fire Giant for these Barons.
Yeah, not quite grouped up yet here by the Land Barons. A little bit back on the timer, but I don't think the Emperors have that knowledge yet, as they're very hesitant to pull their objective as they should be, especially because this River's Rebuke could turn this fight very quickly, as this Medusa is going to be looking for this Agni with this Thoth. Thoth is going to dash after the Agni, and that should be a dead Agni. It is pulled out there and gets the Aegis, and now this should just be a fight completely for the Land Barons there. Dharmic Pillars used to try to peel the backline as Ganesha splits off, trying to save his backline. Don't think he'll be able to get out of here. He will not. Falling to the Medusa, and now on the rampage. Meanwhile, this backline getting zoned away by this Wukong, and this is now going to be a free Gold Fury. As Wukong just saying, don't even step that close, my guy. I got to blink. I got to stun. Bowling out poor fool's idol here on this Rama.
And that
not letting him back. My man with this Soul Eater 2 is able to sustain a lot of that tower damage up as well. Oh, and also, he cleared the wave. He gets that XP2. Level 18 right now. And Gilgamesh getting chased out. No leap. Shouldn't have a life. Nice drop kick will get the beads, but that shouldn't save his own life. As Grave will get the last hit here on the Kraken. And good use there by War Squatch, not using the relics, knowing that he's just pretty much dead there regardless, not going to be able to get that blink off, as we do see a pause coming through, as taking a look at this level state, pretty much all across the board still except that support. Still keep it even, but even then, items still kind of favoring Land Baron's support there. Enraged Moose, as it does look like Thoth is the reason for our pause here. Having a little bit of connection, probably reset.
Yeah, it looks like Land Barons are obviously in the driver's seat. This is their game to win. But one fight can go horribly wrong and then lose them everything still.
Yeah, and looking at that player damage, we can kind of see why 4 of the 5 top damage dealers right now in the entire game are on the side of Land Barons, and your jungler is the only one up there, albeit that you got 8,000 there right behind on Dragon on this Agni, and then of course you have Fool's Idol on this Rama, Ganesha, and then Corbin on this Kamazatsu. Hasn't been able to do a lot. Usually been more of just zoning to kind of, minimize the damage, but by that point it's usually already, somebody's gotten picked, somebody's already, pretty much in the in the grave, so to say, and not really been able to have that initiation yet. And that's kind of what you need to have as this Kamazatsu. You need to be able to use that little bit of your, kit healing, as well as the your just absolute tankiness of health to kind of your advantage of just dealing more damage. And right now, Wukong's doing a little bit better at that. 1-0-6 versus 0-0-1.
Yeah, Kamazotz hasn't really had that tanky presence quite yet. He just now got on that Caduceus shield, and he's just now ramping his defense up. And so he's been squishy practically this entire game.
And that squishy means that there's not much you can do. And when you're level 16 and trying in the highest level on your team, and you're trying to be squishy for a level 18 Thoth with, already the double flat pan, a Soul Reaver online, and a Medusa that's got Wind Demon, Aussie Crusher, there's just not a whole lot of prots they need to get through, and a lot of damage are going to turn back towards you. And when you have this, Yamoja Kabrakan setup, it's going to be hard to dive super deep without getting picked as a cost.
Yep. I do like the fact that this Yamoja did go Pridwin. I love Pridwin on Yamoja, to be honest, because you can proc it so fast because they're cooldowns.
Yeah, that extra bit there of shielding as well as the cooldown. Very much needed on that 140-second cooldown on that River's Rebuke. It is definitely a long ultimate, considering that buffs spawn 10 seconds before that ult comes back up without any CDR. So make sure you're building your CDR. But, on the other side, Dharmic Pillar is only a 75-second cooldown. I'm not saying that Yamoja ult's too long or is the worst ultimate.
Don't say that. Don't give high-res ideas. Don't give high-res ideas.
Listen, I don't like playing into it, but I'm just saying it seemed. I'm also a Hunbat's player, so I feel the pain of having your ultimate put on a ridiculously long cooldown with no scaling. So I feel the pain. You Moja players out there, I understand your pain. I'm not saying buff it, but as we take a little bit here as well, just in this pause, looking at some of the relics, pretty standard for most of the, lanes, but in the support, we do see a shell on each side. Scream does have that Phantom Shell already upgraded, but at this point, I feel like it hasn't even really been used, because it's not even the walls that are getting losing these fights. It's just the fact that Land Barons have so much more damage than the Emperors do.
And also, it's like during these wall fights, when you see the 2 or 3 people inside those walls, even if you use the shell, there's still she placed the walls to where they're up against another wall, so they can't just leave the walls. They have to go out from the front or out through the back towards them.
Yeah, and Phantom Shell doesn't help with those riptides, if I'm not mistaken. So just excellent play here by Enraged Moose on this Umoja. Gotta give this man some props. 0-0-14. Not one to recommend, be having less deaths than your backline, but that's not for lack of peel. That's just for plethora of dive on the other side, making that difficult, and definitely shown how to play this Umoja and why this is probably one of the best supports that you can play currently.
Yeah, especially if you know how to use it pretty well. Like you said, very high skill cap. God. And then also we see that Scream is picking up a Pridwin instead of going, a tanky item towards one person or one set of either physical or magical, still opting to split it.
And it does pick up that cursed onk, which is definitely going to be needed in these fights if they want to way back in this game. But almost 10k down, just about that 20-minute mark already, and you're seeing 2 to 3 levels down, even 4 levels down in ADC. Actually, 2 to 4 levels almost across the board. It's definitely going to be an uphill battle for the Emperors, and especially when you've got this Thoth ultimate that's going to be definitely the best secure on the map. You really don't have any great ways except for War Squatch and this Gilgamesh just absolutely being up on my man in his space to try to stop these ultimates. And to do that, you're basically making sure Gilgamesh can't steal it himself. So it's definitely gonna be rough around these objectives. And of course, the Land Barons play it right. They're just gonna drop it, go for these fights that they should win very handily, and then go back to the objectives with an advantage.
100%. And at this point, the only way I can see the Emperors getting back into this, other than just farming, they need to focus all their power onto this Medusa or onto this Thoth and not worry about the front line. They need to kill those 2 backliners because that's what's killing them right now. I mean, sure, the River's Rebuke is amazing, but at the same time, what's doing all that damage inside that Rebuke? What's sure, she's holding you there, but she's holding you there for someone.
Yeah, well, one of the people that's getting a lot of that off, thanks to this emoji, is that Sun Wukong right now. 14,000 player damage. The next closest is War Squatch on this Gilgamesh with 10k, and the Thoth right behind with about 10k as well. So it's even that trouble. If you do that, now you've got a Wukong that's just going to be running at this Rama and this Agni the entire time with, Rama basically has to going into that sky to do anything, which means you're going to either need some targets or just pushing that damage back out. Obviously, you got that Sun Wukong wall, go up into that cloud, heal up a little bit, dive even harder. Definitely going to make it very difficult for these Land Barons to get back into this game, or for the Emperors to get back into this game with the Land Barons. But they definitely have the pieces. I mean, Gilgamesh, probably one of the most tried and true junglers that we've had since he's been put in the game. You got, Rama, Agni, some good safe backline if you can, survive that initial dive, get some good damage off the other end. But they definitely have the pieces, but do they have the XP and the gold for those pieces to be useful?
Yeah, exactly. They need to regroup at this point, take this time to pause and figure out what they need to do to turn this game around. Because sure, the gold lead's still up there, but they're coming to the point where it's level 20s. When it gets to that level 20 mark, everybody's hitting level 20. Gold's no longer an issue.
But they have to survive until then, which
yes.
Right now, they've got a longer way to get there than the Land Barons do, especially on your backline here, both level 15. Other side, you got level 19 and 18. So they're going to hit it here in the next, 2-3 minutes. You're going to hit in the next maybe 5 to 10, if it goes well, 5 minutes. If it doesn't, probably closer to 10. So you're looking at, 2-3 fire giants that you're going to have to weather before then and not lose the game and not be in such a detrimental position on the map to effectively be able to do it. Looks like we do get the unpause here. We get back into the game. Let's go. Thank you guys so much for your patience there. But don't worry, nothing happened. We got a little bit of backs here. Some items being bought. A full Rada Tahuti being bought by Effective here, which will be very effective for him as he already has a ton of damage on that back end. Interesting to see if he opts to upgrade that or just get a last item or his starter. We'll see when that time comes as Camazot's bouncing up and down, feeling the fun lane that going against Sun Wukong is. And not really quite grouped here yet. Looks like just rather than opting to try to force a fight on fire, there's going to be some, level 20s and some items finished out here. Agni able to steal one of those away. Deny this Medusa level 20. But yeah, just looking like a little bit of gold farming here, as that's exactly what the Emperors want to do. So they're having to play very careful, meeting their lane counterparts and hoping they don't meet anyone else. But looks like they might be grouping either for a pick here or for this FGs. There's now 4 over here, and this Camazot's definitely needs to be careful. Thoth Hieroglyphic Assault is able to force out this Camazot's ult already. And nice pathing away. He does get the blink, but that Riptide able to bring him back, and poor Corbin pretty much one shot off of that dash. Is rather than rotate over, it looks like the Emperors have looked to just kind of get what they can. They've conceded this Fire Giant, get the tier 1 in left, get the tier 1 in mid, maybe get this tier 2 in right as well. Try to get back some of this gold advantage, which has definitely helped Level 17 for both of these backliners now is... Are they going to look for a Phoenix here? They have a wave. Kraken is here. 4v1. Are they going to still try? No, they're going to not go for this Phoenix. Not risk this fight going too long. Land Barons are able to get the Fire Giant. Pick up the Pyros. My boy here, Grave, will make sure that there's no lazy backing on this Phoenix.
Yeah, that was a pretty good play by the Emperors. They're knowing that they probably couldn't fight that, just giving up and take what they can, and got that T2 for it, which kind of brought them back up in the gold wise, but then losing it yet again to the Fire Giant and the Pyromancers.
Yeah, well, they keep it at 10k, so despite losing Fire and the Pyromancer, they're able to keep it there with gold. And the good thing is they only have tier 2s, so that they only are going to lose that, you know, what, 3k gold, I think, 1,500 for each of the T2s on the math on there. But the downside is they only have 2 tier 2s to defend, so it's not going to be a whole lot probably of time needed to be spent to get these towers down and potentially looks at a Phoenix Sieges. There's not a whole lot of Emperors here grouped on this right side, so this could be a good fight here for the Land Barons. Both blinks up for Kraken and Wukong here, so they definitely have the engage that they want. But it does look like everybody is here except Gilgamesh. Rama ult into the air. Thoth having to dash through that ult takes a lot of damage, which does stop a little bit on that Phoenix, but a nice Petrify will slow down some of this backline as Kama goes right onto this Thoth, but a beautiful River's Rebuke to split up this fight, and on the back end, Grave is going to fall. Bobby Bobfish will trade out 1. Corbin will also fall, so 2 for 1, and this should still lead to the Phoenix as they got zoned all the way back to their fountain by this Wukong. Definitely need to be careful, but active still here ready as Thoth will use that Aegis, the dash in from Medusa, and Thoth should be the doom here of the Ganesha, but he will dash away. Thoth still has that final judgment too. He's just trying to play kiting, slow him down, keep this mid Phoenix up, and with about 20 seconds left, no wave, they're going to path very safely. Agni damage over the wall, really just going onto the tank, so not hitting a whole lot, but the Thoth damage in return, not able to really connect either.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Thoth actually held on to Final Judgment throughout that fight. Just be 100 with you.
Ganesha doing his best to try to zone back here, but he has no help, so they're just going to sit in this box and auto down this Phoenix, which they will get as, oh my goodness, that evade and punish, just half healths. This Rama just back off a respawn and already having to go back into the fountain. They're able to back up now into the jungle. 2 Phoenixes down, very much a successful siege for the Land Barons.
Yeah, Wukong doing what he needs to do, and he zoned 4 of them away every fight. And it was just insane.
Yeah, 2-0-7 on this Wukong. Looks like he's probably going to be going into a Shifter Shield-ass item. Maybe with the Berserker's change, might be going to that late, but I would assume the Shifters get himself a little bit more power off on this dive. 21,500 damage. Next closest is this Thoth, who's been moving up a little bit, almost at 16k, but Agni having some good fights recently, almost up to 15k himself. So a lot of damage, but still a lot of red names down at the bottom of this damage chart. Corbin and Fool's Idol not really able to get a whole lot of damage off, as Corbin's just diving into Yamoja shield and Yamoja heals. Meanwhile, Fool's Idol is getting dove and just not able to get a lot of damage off except on to this Wukong. And as we've already stated, very much tanky there, just finishing that Berserker shield at the end.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, they can easily grip those fires, get this T2, and then look for fire.
As Kraken able to just blink ult onto this Agni, get both actives and the Ganesha ult. As Kama's already down low, does get the Medusa ult to try to chase, but he's going to run right into some stuns. Not great, will get the kill there at the end. So another pick means that they might look to get this 3rd Phoenix down. Gonna take them a minute to get this tier 2, and they don't have the Kraken ult quite yet, and they don't have the Medusa ult, but as far as their ultimates go, I don't think those are the ones that they need.
They just need to make sure they have Final Judgment and River's Rebuke up,
which both are up Thoth dash is down, misses the drop kick though, and absolutely melts to this level 20 Medusa. And Venom Deathbringer finished, wins the Samash, will root and slow down a little bit. And this Ganesha on the backline will come back to help peel. But look at that damage. The Aegis will Aegis the final judgment. But Thoth has a couple more abilities. He's still going to get the kill there. Not Grave, almost falling to the Titan thanks to those stuns and that CC. And they're pretty low, but they're going to try to get this here. Agni getting a lot of damage there, but Scream will fall. Agni, the only one left here in the Titan, is not there to defend any longer as Land Barons take a very dominant Game 1 win.
Yeah, that was a very good performance. I have to give like the MVP of that game to Enraged Moose. 0-0 and 20. River's Rebuke were on point every time. I don't think we saw one that was bad or questionable. All of them was trapping at least one person. As long as you're trapping one person, Umoja's doing her job.
And with that first pick, Medusa, 9-1 and 8, definitely can understand where this was being picked near the top. And then, of course, the Thoth and Umoja being the next two picks. So very strong up there. 11,000 player healing. Absolutely colossal here from Rangers. I'm right there with you. Definitely the MVP for me in that first game. And definitely did his job. He set up the team fights, made sure his backline didn't die. Oh, and also, while that was all happening, keeping everybody topped up for these sieges. Textbook Umoja play from Enraged Moose in that first game.
Mm-hmm. I also want to say that Enraged Moose somehow got a perfect score and minion damage.
He did perfectly even there. 28,000 exact. Very, very, very pleasing number to see there.
It is.
But as we go now looking towards game 2, there's definitely some work to do here for the Emperors. I mean, there's some picks on there that you're not really, effectively seeing as metas, like this Wukong that was able to just run at your backline. But outside from that, it's a pretty standard meta draft, Medusa, Umoja, very meta dual lanes there. Kraken, we've seen pretty much support, jungle, solo, you name it, he's plugged in and has had some decent success all around. And then, of course, this Thoth, one of the mages that has some good value. Obviously, a very diveable character, but when you're ahead like he was all game, you don't have to do a whole lot. 20,000 damage. Did get beat out by the Agni on the other side a little bit in damage, but he was going on squishies. They got a little bit less health to deal with, so we could chalk it up to that. So going into the second game, where do Emperors need to look to try to bounce back for the second game?
I think they need to not let Enraged Moose have this Umoja back again. First of all, he is just insane. Also, the Medusa was pretty insane itself too. And I just need to see Corbin on something that can maybe punish the Sun Wukong, because I don't think the Sun Wukong was doing a lot. He was zoning a lot, but I think if Corbin was on a actual warrior that can force this Sun Wukong out and force Sun Wukong to play safe like Sun Wukongs are supposed to be doing instead of playing the aggro, I think we would have saw a different solo lane fight there.
Yeah, but, if you say bam this Wukong, do you give him Ardio instead? Does he just snag the Camazotz instead? There's a lot of pieces here there from the Land Barons that were very successful and not exactly stuff where they can just take it all in the ban phase. They're definitely going to have to draft accordingly to deal with it. Maybe find a little bit better dive on this Thoth. Maybe ban this Medusa, look for something in that direction as well. So a lot of successful picks here all around here for the Land Barons, which is what you want. It makes it very difficult for the second phase because, you let Grave have this Kraken again? Maybe, someone else on the team takes your Kraken? Do you give Enraged Moose, this Umoja again? I think that's the most easy no out of all the answers.
Exactly.
It's very much, they have to pick their poison. Which one do they want to deal with and which do they feel most confident in dealing with getting run back in game 2? Obviously they lose, so if I'm correct, they do get a pick if they want first or second pick. They did have that second pick in that game, but with the second pick, they let him get, Umoja, Thoth, second, third, Kraken, and Wukong there at the end. So definitely a lot of value that they got at the end of the draft. So I don't think necessarily changing up first pick will do, absolutely change the landscape. But it might be able to get them where, okay, we want to specifically take this god away from them, and that's the one we're going to pick. So it will be interesting to see where that ban goes, but also to see if they can translate it in the game, because they were doing really good up until about that 9-10 minute mark where the the buff invades started to pile on top of each other and actually started to start building a material lead. And then from there, it just became more and more of an uphill battle.
Yeah. It all started with the blue buff invades going wrong. It started with getting their purple stolen really early because of a good rotation out of the Kraken and the Thoth. It just all went downhill from there. And then the Awesome River's Rebuke splitting up everybody went down, just made it to where no one could fight. And even if Ganesh even tried to wall off someone, they didn't care about the damage. Ganesh was so behind he couldn't dish out that damage.
Well, there was no follow-up behind it. It was either used so early in the fight that it was used, with this Gilgamesh ult that was either usually 2v3 or even 2v4 to where they were outnumbered, where there was no other damage because Aggie's already dead or getting dove or just not there yet. And then this Camazotz has to go in with no real follow-up with that. Like maybe if that was used with conjunction with the Dharmic Pillars rather than the Dharmic Pillars being used with the Winds of Shamash, maybe seen a little bit more success there. But regardless, I do think there's definitely some pieces that worked. I mean, that Gilgamesh was up until he started falling behind, which wasn't necessarily to his own accord. He did have quite a few deaths, but that's what you want from your jungler. Go in, get buttons, get damage off, get it set up for the rest of your team, hopefully to get some stuff off, especially if you're going to play that Gilgamesh and go that hybrid jungle build with that Shoguns, that CAD shield, that sort of kind of build.
Mm-hmm.
But I really definitely need to see more from these side lanes here from the Emperors. Is Kama really, albeit partially just because how the lane went and also partially just how the team fights went, wasn't able to have any sort of presence. And then on the other side, this Rama was 0-5, hit level 20 by the end of the game, got that starter finished, but 0-5-4, not really able to have any sort of presence other than the build he had there at the end, which when you're in the gray screen, you can't really defend a Titan.
Yeah. You get to watch a black and white movie of the Titan dying.
Yeah, worst way to watch your Titan die. Not too bad to watch the other person's Titan die, I'm sure, especially if you're the reason for it, but definitely not something that you want to. That's not the preferred way to watch a Titan fall, I would say. It's usually better in HD color first person, or I guess third person because we play Smite. View of the Titan falling there.
But I guess we'll see as we wait to go into game 2. We'll just take a short break and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for that little bit of a break while they got the second lobby set up for us, as they are now jumping right in to P's and B's, it looks like. Very eager for them in the semifinal set, as they want to just get this game on the way, as my wonderful friend Knuckles from Uganda has said before. But going into the second game, it does look like we have the first pick here for the Emperors. So, Sniper, I'm going to ask you kind of again, what of these picks do you think they're going to pick away rather than ban, and just kind of add to their own arsenal?
I say ban away the Thoth, ban away the Emoja, maybe look to pick up like the Medusa, or maybe ban it away. But those three right there were their key to success. And then also the Wukong was pretty dominant too. But it does not, and it looks like they are opting to pick up that Medusa to take it away from the landlords.
Yeah, well, they don't ban that Emoja, though, so you might see a reprise of Enraged Goose on this Emoji in Game 2, as their bans are Shiva, Persephone, and they do opt, of those picks, to ban the Thoth away, take away the Medusa, so really understanding that, yeah, the CC was annoying, but that backline damage was too much. We're going to take one piece, we're going to make sure that you don't get the other piece, and then on the other side, they go, all right, that's fine. We'll just make sure you can't peel us, as they're going to bring back that Emoji here. And then I would assume that Bobby Blobfish, my man Samuel, is going to take this Cthulhu into the solo lane. So already a very formidable front line here for the Land Barons going into Game 2.
Yeah. As we see also a Mercury pickup, I think Mercury's really good, especially with stone cutting being cheaper. He can get online a little bit faster. Allows them to feel good again instead of just rushing straight into rage, which makes you 50-50 your game. It's either you get kills or you don't.
Yeah, definitely some options you can go. I think the best option in competitive is just to go for, that, build one of those katanas, either the stone cutting to just be effective mid-late game, or just go for that golden blade to go farm mode. Build yourself some crit, build yourself a little bit of pen, maybe that serrated, something along those lines. And then you just kill everybody after that. Everybody just kind of dies because you just punch one and there's just 12,000 damage, easily right there. But some frontline here for the Emperors. They opt for the Cerberus in the solo lane, or in the support potentially, I guess. Gilgamesh usually seen in that jungle for the rest of the top three. Tiamat, Osiris banned away here by the Land Barons, which is met by the Agni banned away to make sure that isn't taken by the Land Barons, as well as the Morgan banned away. Cernanos then picked up by the Land Barons, so still mating on their mid pick. Definitely going to wait for that last pick, and still definitely a ton of options. Obviously, you don't have any of the ones from the previous game still being there. But on the other side here, interesting pickup. You pick up the Soul, which I feel that Double Hunter either does really well or really bad into the Cthulhu, and then they opt to lock in this Khepri as their final pick in the support. So another very peel-centered support, which has some really good setup, but Khepri is not going to be able to root the Cthulhu, not be able to pluck the Cthulhu. So once Cthulhu gets in the ult, you've got a, Khepri res, and that's about all you're getting on this backline. So definitely, I'm very much worried about seeing a repeat of Game 2, just running down by this Cthulhu and not really anything on the back end that they're going to be able to do into this Poseidon pickup.
Yeah, and I got really happy for a second because he was hovering Baba Yaga. And that's a pick that me and my team love a lot because it's really, really fun to play with. Plus, you get to say Corey in the house when you drop a house on someone.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I can see why they might not have. Cthulhu already into that Descent into Madness. You have her go into that house in the jungle fights. If they're going down the same pathway, the rest of your team's going to be like, hey, down in front, hello? Trying to see everybody. So maybe more meme than anything, but potentially why they went away from that Baba Yaga. But honestly, already this CERN cripple, Yamoja stun, even this Cthulhu knockup in that ult, or that just big AoE route, you have a lot of great setup for this Poseidon. And to be honest, that knockback, the cripple there from the Poseidon, it's going to be very hard for this Gilgamesh to try to dive this Poseidon. And as much as I like the Emperor's draft, you've got some good setup with the Cerberus Gilgamesh, big circles, your backline Medusa Soul has a lot of burst damage, so they should be able to turn any sort of dive back on them, especially into this Mercury. It should be very difficult for them. That Disapparate could get some huge value. I really think that this might be a 2-game set here, is just there's so much health that they're gonna have to eat through for the land barons. I really don't see, with how they played game 1, that they're gonna play game 2 bad enough with this draft to push this to a game 3.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to see if this Medusa can pop off. He can show that he can do the Medusa just as good as the Lands Barons did. And then on top of that, these Khepri reses have to be on point.
And that's something else. With this Soul locked up, we usually see Soul kind of have some flex potential go over into the solo lane or in the ADC. So you might even see this be a Medusa mid, which might be into that Poseidon matchup, which could be pretty rough. I might, now that I'm actually thinking about it and say that out loud, maybe we see the Soul stay in the mid lane and just leave the Medusa off to the side there. Which would you kind of prefer to see here? Because you got Cernunnos and Poseidon who both have, good CCs into their ultimates, a lot of damage to follow up with it. Who are you kind of looking for to see in those lane matchups?
I'd like the Medusa into the Cernunnos and then the Soul into the Poseidon, because the zap rate can, if he times it right, can just nullify Krakens.
All right, well, we won't hold you guys any longer. We'll go ahead and jump into this game 2, see if we can see the Emperors can push to a game 3, keep their playoff championship hopes alive into here, as it is the Soul in the mid lane, so we'll be matching up into that Poseidon. That separate, hopefully we'll be able to get some value, and the Medusa there over into the Hunter matchup there into the solo lane, and items getting picked up. I'm very much interested to see what both these solo laners builds are going to be, and also what these mid laners builds are going to be. We've kind of see both of these mid laners kind of either go for like kind of a hybrid attack ability based, where you kind of, maybe build like a demonic or a Telkynes, and then just kind of build, ability based after that. Sure, you can go like Nimble Rod for that extra attack speed for off your power, but for the most part, ability based. Or we've seen them go very more of like a utility build, where or attack speed utility, maybe build a Toxic Blade on there, go something along those lines. So will be interesting to see where these mid laner matchups go. We do see the Death Toll there for Dragon on this Soul, and effective is just going to go kind of the standard, looks like flat pen build with that Sands of Time.
Yep. Which I'm surprised a lot of these Poseidon players have been opting to go Doom Lord first, just so they could be potent around everywhere and get those early ganks off. But I also like Poseidon as an early pinner too, able to get those early pin items as well, and then go into the Doom or maybe third item.
Yeah, will be interesting to see. Lots of pressure, just that Yemoja being able to get a lot of that damage on this wave. Medusa wants to kill you on the wave, not necessarily go, as we see the dash from the Cern onto this Medusa, but nice root there from Khepri. Should be able to get him out, but he bounces back in, and then the 2v2 in the jungle, not great, is going to catch out War Squatch. Not sure if that's going to be traded back. It will. Those enhanced autos from the Soul should be able to trade out here onto this Mercury, as he's finding out why Soul passive is so annoying to box into. So thought maybe we might have first blood and dual lane, and in fact it is the jungle and mid able to go through there. Not Grave, huge first kill onto this Mercury. You want to get that farm online as soon as possible, but Soul with this kill might be able to have a lot of pressure onto this Poseidon, which when you're playing Poseidon, you want to hyper farm as best you can, as you mentioned. That's why you want to kind of go that Doom Orb, and if you're behind a Soul, it can be very scary to try to walk into this lane or to these side camps without having vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when we start to see this Khepri maybe rotate out. Soul's going to be a unit with the res.
Separate and a Khepri revive. Not exactly something I want to hear I have to deal with. I think I'd rather deal with the Geb than those two things.
Yeah, 100%. But on the upside, they do have the Cthulhu.
Yeah,
so
that's also not good to deal with here. Thankfully, that Disapport lasts a long time, as we do see Soul looking for the invade here. Don't know if he'll be able to out-secure a Poseidon without that too. But here comes the Gilgamesh. Nice double stun, able to get the beads from both of them. But this Mercury eating a lot of damage, unfortunately misses that ability. They do get the invade and definitely win this HP fight, but they definitely need to be careful on their pathing out of here. Cernunnos making a rotation. He's going to be caught between 3 or 4 people. He does not get caught by the root, gets the dash out of there, but this Yemoja will not be able to get out of here. War Squatch able to pick up a kill on the support. turns into a purple buff invade. So I love the Emperors right now, understanding that late game team fights, they don't want to go into even. They need to hold down the gas. A red buff invade into a purple invade. Looks like this Poseidon might steal some of their back camps, but they aren't going to lose any of their buffs, it looks like. So definitely a good win and a good showing here for the Emperors.
Oh, that was close.
That auto hits. That's definitely a dead Poseidon there. Does not have level 5, so no ultimate to try to peel him there. And he did have Corbin rotating on this Cerberus as well. So definitely had some lockdown in CC when he does not have beads. His beads were used on that drop kick earlier, so could be very dangerous. So now we see some ticks over to level 5, some items starting to get finished. Not Grave, opting for that stone cutting you mentioned there, as well as a Stone of Binding rushed here for Bobby Blobfish on this solo lane Cthulhu, and Corbin. Yeah, Corbin just back in to finish his as well. Poseidon seeing a lot of pressure here. No ultimate there, or no beads there as he uses the ultimate, but a lot of self-peel from this Gilgamesh with that knockback. But here comes in Mercury with that ultimate fighting 1v3, but there's no Khepri revive yet, and no mana here for the Soul to use her own thing. The shell's going to get used, but she's going to actually fall to not Grave, and Effective's going to walk up and get this Scream. Just not any damage there as the Soul did not have enough mana for her ultimate.
That was a good part on Effective to be effective and stay alive and allow Not Grave to get there and able to hit a nice ult and just turn that fight completely around onto the Emperors.
Yeah, opting to go into a tier 1 ring here. Interesting there. As Jotun's now finished for War Squatch. Looks like he was able to pick up his starter item, and he actually opts for the Brawlers, which I like to see that, understanding that this emoji is going to be difficult. Think he definitely could have waited an item if he had wanted to, but opts to just rush it, get it online immediately. But this Poseidon needs to be careful, as he has not a lot of mana, not a lot of HP, but no real damage come through as the ult is used, but just not quite the range on it for this Soul. Poseidon here for Effective, able to get away with death, as I don't think he should have lived there. But he is able to back and get his Spear of Magus finished.
I wonder if Poseidon was thinking in his head, I'm 1 HP, I wonder if I can just show face and bait the ult. And he was like, it was like kind of like a hold my beer situation there. See if I can do it.
Might have been, but he is going to lose some tower pressure, but the Mercury ult will be off the mark. The bead's still here for the Soul with the Disapparate. Trying to juke the dash, will not. Will have to use the beads and hit the slow, but Mercury with the passive, too fast, too quick, not even needing the speed buff. Is ultimate used over there in the Soul lane as this emoji now hits 5 before this Khepri and is running the wrong way. Gonna run right into this Cernunnos, and with still not having the ultimate, still level 4, is gonna fall, and there's 4 over here. I don't think they can do this Gold Fury, but they definitely have a shot if they think they can to try to juggle it. No, they're just gonna go look for some buffs, look for some picks, look for some fruit. Take the more important farm that's on the map. As effectively just one-shots. War Squatch there as Not Grave picks off Dragon as well, just not respecting the damage or the vision of what is out there for the Land Barons. And despite a good start by the Emperors, they've kind of just given all that lead away, now down 2 kills to 7, and already almost over 3k gold, and we're only 7 minutes in this game.
Yeah, I think most of it's just coming to Khepri hasn't hit 5 yet.
Oh, and the Petrify off the mark as well. I don't know if she's going to be able to dash in time to support back, so he definitely has a chance to continue chasing here. Gets the dash, 1 auto, needs 1 more. 1 more auto. No, he doesn't hit the second auto. It looks like the wall. No, the tick still gets him. I think the minions got him. I think he dashed into the minions under tower, and because he dashed through the minions, he grabbed the minion aggro, and that's what did it. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask that one afterwards if we get an interview, see what happened there. But a very fortunate the Medusa does get the kill here for Fool's Idol. 1-0-1. Gives a little bit. And they're actually going to be looking for this gold. And immediately on pulling, they realized, yeah, no, there's this thing called Poseidon ult. I don't think we can do that, guys. And they back off. But oh no, Corbin gets ganked here by the Mercury, but also getting ganked is this Poseidon, who gets the beads out, gets plucked right into the Ganesh, or the Khepri, but there's the revive. Nice revive, but too much damage from this Poseidon. Level 10 versus level 7 and level 5. And now that Mercury's here, this could be a double kill. There falls Scream on this Khepri. Gilgamesh should be able to get out, but where'd the tier 1 go? How did they already get tier 1 already? Another beautiful Yemoja ult and wall to give Notgraves it. Dragon will shut him down. Nice kill there for him. 6, 1 and 2, but with these Riptides, Yemoja should be able to get out of here. And a lot of relics already used, and that's a huge shutdown for Soul, but still 2 levels behind this Poseidon, who's been absolutely farming.
Yeah, he's doing really well farming. Able to turn around fights where he should be dying, getting those nice Krakens off.
Oh no, but here comes this CERN. This Soul's in a rough position here. 3 people here. Beautiful shell, though. Disapparate already used. Nice peel. This is maybe too far of a dive now. Fool's Idol is able to grab Rygerg onto this CERN. And this Yemoja, though, with 1 HP is able to get out. Very nice kiting there from Dragon, as he is dragging his team by the neck to try to get them back in this game, to give any sort of semblance of winning, but this Merc ult might shut him back down. Gets the Aegis, nice pluck. He's able to hit a lot of damage. This Mercury is chunking right now. Hey, Soul, there's this thing called Poseidon ult. Yeah, you need to not be up with no health when that's up.
Or press your 3 a little bit sooner.
Yeah, well, even if he presses the 3, like, immediately, I think he's still... It takes too long. Because, you know, Poseidon, Kraken, pretty much instant disapparate. Unfortunately, the one thing it isn't, it's an Aegis, it's a Bees, damage immunity, as well as a surprising amount of damage on the back end if they walk in that trail. The one thing it is not is instant, and that's kind of the one thing you kind of need and do a Poseidon ult. But
that's when you need that's when you need Caribus. Or
yes.
Chlorine is not Chlorine, but yeah, Charty B.
Charty B, Chlorine.
Chlorine's Cleo.
Yeah,
Chlorine's
there you go. Cleo. Okay, that's a new one.
I call her Cleo
after a minute. As Mercury just staring at the enemy team, and Khepri says, you can stare at this screen in black and white. As a nice pick there on this Mercury. No beads, no problem. Going for the beads Aegis. As these 2 Guardians versus 2 Guardians, I think it's safe to say that the Cthulhu Yemoja is going to kind of be winning that 2v2. As War Squatch afterwards just dip. Opts to go Berserker's second item, so going a very tanky build here again is Poseidon running now with this Disapparate here. No second Relic here for the Soul, so no Aegis. A lot of damage, though, turned. Unfortunately, misses the 2, and that Blessing's going to fall, which means this Poseidon will get the kill. Just some unfortunate missed abilities and just bouncing endlessly into the Riptide. That's a feels bad, as Enraged Moose is very much showing, okay, you guys didn't ban my Yemoja. You guys definitely should have banned my Yemoja, and I'll show you why.
Hey, I'm just saying, Enraged Moose bleeds. He got 1 death.
He does. First death of the set, but he's also got another 4 assists, and I'd say he'd have more, but effective is just, you know, just destroying everybody before he gets there. He is getting this invade off, though, and is putting out a ton of damage. Uses the ult. A lot of damage getting returned, though, but just not quite enough from this Cerberus. And here comes the Cthulhu to walk in. This might be turns here. Pops the shell as Poseidon now just walks away. Is Gilgamesh actually leap in, but he leaps right into the Merc ult, which means Corbin is now going to fall without beads. Gilgamesh trying to take the 1v1 with this Merc. As Mercury is absolutely getting all of these autos off, but the burst auto cancel on the 1. Meanwhile, Cthulhu decently low from this tower, but not able to get a kill. So nice little bit of a turn there, shutting down Notgrave again, as well as getting both of his relics, as both of these hunters are throwing autos at each other and not really hitting anything, as Fool's Idol will run back all the way to his tower. A little bit of a missed wave there for the Cernanos, though. So I would say a little bit of a win from the 2 levels ahead Medusa, probably 1.5, as they do look to get their first objective of this set, as they do start pulling this Pyromancer. That is, ooh, Gil, careful. All right, there you go. There you go, guys. You can do it. There we go. Pyromancer, good on them, as they're still, though, about, 2-3k down, so still got a little bit of ways to go, but they've definitely plateaued this game, which is definitely an improvement over the last game, where it just kind of was already starting to snowball by this point. And it's a rough situation here for the Emperors, because they have so many priority picks that can really turn these fights. I mean, one Kraken ult, one Yemoja ult, one Mercury, fight can turn it. So you've got a lot of picks that are really going to really turn fights against you quickly, and not really any of them that are necessarily easy to grab without getting a lot of these buttons first.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if you knew this. You want to know a fun fact about the Pyromancer?
What's about Pyromancer?
You can actually silence the big AoE damage.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, he drop-kicked immediately to aggro it, so he did not have it to stop the aggro here. As we do see a pull, looking for a fight, though. Off the mark here, getting some autos, but no soul ult as they use that to secure the Pyromancer. Don't know if that was but Medusa running up gets I believe that was a 3-man Petrify hit with the slow, and a lot of damage by the Gilgamesh, but a nice Cern ult to turn it. Medusa does take a bit of poke, but they might have some priority here. They do need to watch for this Cthulhu ult, and there is still a Poseidon Kraken nearby, but this Cthulhu eats a lot of poke, and those stuns, and where did he go? Cthulhu level 14 with an Oni's Garb finish just gets instantly melted. No beads, no problem, and that's what you draft this double hunter for. But this Poseidon tried to get cheeky from around the back, able to get the Kraken, but that time the Disapparate able to get through. But the Soul Ultimate not able to finish the kill, just a little bit too far behind. Gilgamesh trying to get a little bit of bulk, but taking a whole lot. Is this fight still very awkward? Is there still a Rivered Rebuke dash for dash? This Medusa definitely needs to be careful. Taking a couple of chunky autos, but it's a scattered fight. No team really grouping up to try to get any priority targets other than that pick on the Cthulhu, who's already back up, and he still has that ultimate that he did not use in the previous fight. Both these tanks pulling it, but Soul not there. The rest of the damage on the purple buff means that it is all for naught, but the Oracle Vision is now down, so there's definitely now a window here to grab it, and I think Bobby Blobfish understands that he can't just walk in for free into this double hunter, as there is a lot of damage between this Medusa and Soul.
As they're pinging out this Poseidon like crazy. You see a 3-man rotation onto him.
Yeah, not a lot of mana, and unfortunately this slow en route should be his demise. Not even going to use the paralyzing spit to put him there. A nice kill on Effective, who's farming very well. Level 17 just now finishes off not only the rod, but the Nimble Rod bonus, so a little bit of attack speed on there. But because they're all on right, this is a pull here on the other side. Medusa only able to hit the tanks with this Petrify, but it is slow down the DPS. The Cthulhu ult coming through. As now as the Land Barons do secure it. I thought it was going to get stolen there. Dragon eating a lot of damage means he's going to fall. The knockup should get him in range, but there is a Kepri res, so shouldn't see too effective of a dive onto him. But an over-rotation here to get this. Oh, that's a feels bad there. I will say, probably, 40 minutes of gameplay now? That is the first bad Yemoja ult. Granted, he's only ulting every 2 minutes, so not a whole lot of ults that go through there. As Corbin realizes that Grave does a lot of damage and has a Deathbringer finished with a lot of crit online.
And stealing his protections.
Oh, yeah. Not to mention stealing the protections, getting the extra power just from that. Had to use the ultimate, it looks like. But now this Gilgamesh is in dire straits here. Does use the ultimate here, but the bouncing of this Mercury is a lot. Is he saving a lot of time, as there's no real other damage outside this Mercury, though. But, oh, what a Kepri res should keep him up. But now, with no tower, this fight might not be there, as Medusa took the long way around. But a couple of crits coming through from this Medusa. The drop kick of the Cthulhu wave should save him, as it looks like somebody's got that scepter doing some damage to him. But a Poseidon should be able to come say hi to this Gilgamesh. Eventually gets the autos down. And now this fight's going to turn very quickly. Soul is here. Poseidon Kraken just gets a smidgen of the Medusa there. Gets one, but this Mercury will fall as well. This could be some huge damage for this Cerberus. They need to focus this Poseidon, though. As Yemoja gets some healing, gets the shell off. That's a triple for Effective. It could be a quadra if they're able to bring down the Cerberus soon enough. Yamoja trying to stay away and healthy enough. The spit, if it's on the mark, will get the kill, and it will! But it is a Quadra for effective all the while. On the other side, with this D side, they basically took a scattered 4v5, as Certain else was just split pushing the whole time. He's going to drop this tier 2, and he might even try to go for this Phoenix here.
Yep. And unfortunately, the one person that stole that penta was Grave.
Oh. Grave end up getting that kill to start the fight onto that Cerberus. Who then, actually, there was 6 kills in that fight. It definitely could have been a penta either way, because he did get that kill early. I don't know who LNC picked up in that fight to steal it, but definitely now rough for the Emperors there that they have a fight without the enemy hunter there, and they're just not really grouped. Is this Cthulhu and Yamoja, just so much effective damage, and oh no, Medusa, you can't dash through the wave like that, or can you? Maybe you can. Aussies on both sides. The dash, though, from this CERN, but the Aussie proc from Medusa procs just adds a little bit more value, and somehow able to get that. No relics used by either side. Rykurge not using either of his. Might have been able to save his life. Opts to not use either. Just go for the straight-up fight, and does cost him his life, but looks like he had a decent bit of gold, able to get that Wind Demon finish, and looks like that tier 2 Atalantis is what he should be going. So definitely still some fight here for the Emperors. They definitely have some skill, you can see, but just these team fights, very difficult for him. As you can see, some of those pieces I was talking about earlier, 9 and 2 on this Poseidon, 9 and 4 on this Mercury, 2 very effective damage dealers. And if you get one, the other one's getting value. So which one are you trying to prioritize in these fights? Or are you just kind of picking whichever one you can get?
At this point, just pick what you see in front of you. That's your best bet of, continuing the lead and also coming back into, try to get back into the game for the Emperors themselves. Is just pick what's in front of them. They have the comp to burst down these tanks with this soul. So they can easily take out this Cthulhu. They can take out this Umoja if they just focus it.
Yeah, Khepri gonna get thrown back as Mercury was trying to look for this Medusa, gonna take a bit of damage, and somehow that duck stun into the wall. Good bit of posturing here, is looking like they might look over towards the Serb in the mid lane, but he'll get out of there. Cernanos taking the 1v1 against Soul, does get the Soul ultimate, and he definitely can still chase down if he wants, and looks like a Cthulhu might try to cut off Dragon on this Soul, as he might be good as dead here. I don't think he's going to get this back off in time, as he won't, and that should be his doom. His best thing he can try to do is take one with him, but CERN has his relics. He just needs the dash away, which he does. Effective gets his 10th kill of the match, and everybody over there for the side of the Land Barons to make sure they get that kill. Karen's coin finish for that extra bit of zoom, and Pen. This Poseidon's going to be very difficult to catch.
I also want to throw out, we're 20 minutes in the game, triple magicals on both sides, and Khepri has yet to build any magical defense.
Yeah, a little bit on that Pridwin, but, it's effectively just both prots, and it's only 30. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Heart Ward for Enraged Moose is Khepri. Getting run out a little bit by these 3 in the back, but he might be looking for this Fire Giant, and Gilgamesh definitely needs to be careful in the back end, but so does Corbin, having to use that ultimate, but the Kraken will be used, and that's a lot to go down on top of him. Gilgamesh used that, wins the Samash, but he's not going to win this trade, my friend. Too much damage on the other side. He gets the shell. This Yamoja ult will make sure that he dies. The Khepri ult will expire, and that is now 2 picks for none on the other side, and they go Fire, they go Phoenix. Looks like they're just going to go back to this Fire Giant.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what happened to Emperors. They look so much better early game. They were able to get these kills on Land Barons that they didn't in first game, and they looked good. They got a lead for a bit, and now they just lost it.
And that Fire Giant is burned so quickly with this crit from this Mercury, as well as the Poseidon DPS. And not to mention, of course, the Cernanos, but this Khepri getting caught out, to be able to get away from the dash there, but he should eventually get run down. Nice root, no mana, not a smidgen. No, he doesn't. He does. There we go. Finally gets him. Bobby Buffett has to commit the dash, but both of the carries were going to their respective lanes, so not a whole lot. Poseidon takes a ton of damage before finally getting that Aegis off. But this might be a bad turn of fight. This is a 4v5, 4v4, because CERN's not there. Poseidon gets picked up and grabbed, knocked out of the paralyzing spit. away. As now there's just a lot of back and forth, but now here comes Cernanos in the fight. This might be the death of Gilgamesh. He will die to Made You Look, it looks like. Cerberus now kind of caught on his island. Neither of his carries healthy enough to help. As Merc Poseidon will get one. The Petrify only hits the back of the Poseidon, and this might be the set right here. 5-man here, no ultimates for either side. Kepri back up, and he does have his res, but you don't need the res, you need the damage, and there's not a whole lot of damage on the Titan or this carries. His Full Idol will fall. Dragon will get a kill onto Notgrave. This Titan is still very healthy, still above half, but it is just Dragon trying to keep him alive, and he is fallen. I've triple kill now for effective, as that is a 2-game set. Land Barons will go into the finals here for the Kraken division with the 2-0 over Emperors at 23 minutes here.
Yep, and don't count out the Emperors yet. They're going into the loser bracket, so they still can fight for the 3rd place.
Yeah, 3rd place. Still nothing to be ashamed of here for them to get through. Obviously, they made the playoffs. They still had a solid season here for the Emperors here, so by no means nothing to scoff at, but definitely a very strong team here for the Land Barons going up into this finals, and definitely one that needs to be reckoned with for their opponents who are waiting for them already.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, again, Rivers Rebuke were on point, except for maybe the one we watched, where it was just unfortunate timing. The Mercury popped off, the Poseidon popping off, getting a triple kill there at the end, and then also getting the quadra kill there at the team fight to lead towards Fire Giant.
Yeah, definitely a very good game there from Enraged Moose, being able to play this Yamoja very effectively, as we already said. Almost 9k damage in that much shorter game, I believe, in that one. Also another 2k there from Bobby Blobfish in that ult, but I think we got to talk about effective there. Very effective, 14 kills, only 2 deaths, almost 30k damage. Next closest on the enemy team only being 19.5k. Very much played this Poseidon well and played it very much as you should play Poseidon. Lots of damage, lots of deaths, as he did have. Well, I guess he only had 2, but lots of zooming around and lots of W's as they get it down in 2.
Yeah. If you had an opinion, who do you think's MVP of this game here?
I think I might have to give it to Effective there, getting a triple and a quadra there in that second game. And Rage Moose had a wonderful game in both sets, but I think Effective just having 9-1 first game, 14-2 the second game. I think I'd have to give it to Effective, but shout out to Rage Moose, man. Man knows how to play Yamoja.
Yeah, I think overall between the sets, Enraged Moose is going to be our MVP. Game 2, Effectiveness. Game 1, Enraged Moose.
I definitely can get on board and agree with that one there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to have an interview lined up. I don't know if we're going to do that. I'd like to if we can.
Yeah, definitely would love to get one in here if we got any of the boys from...
if we can get Enraged Moose or Effectiveness in here, that'd be great.
Let's see.
And we're going to take a short intermission while we try to figure out if we can get you guys a interview.
Welcome back, everybody, after the 2-0 there, as we had the Land Barons taking over the Emperors. And for the interview, we have two people with us. We have the team captain, Not Grave, a.k.a. Sandman Samuel, a.k.a. the solo laner, Bobby Blobfish, along with their ADC, Riker. If I was saying that wrong, please yell at me. It's all right. But to start it out for you guys, you got a nice 2-0, nice clean set for you guys. Pretty dominant set overall as well. How you guys feeling going into the final of the championship?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us. I'm feeling pretty good. Me and Grave, we maintained a 70k per hour fire making XP during that whole thing. It was really good. Playing RuneScape, it was a really good time. It was a very enjoyable game.
I do have a question because we didn't quite get to see it on cast, but it did look like there might have been some minions getting some last hits here on the ADC. I don't know if you guys were commenting that correctly, but for Riker here, what happened over there?
Yeah, so essentially, I W keyed and hit my ult because it would be funny, and it was funny. And then I decided to do the Harpy, and the Medusa, as a good player should, was like, "Hey, I have ult, they don't. Let's do this." And so I ran away, and I got the dash. I hugged the wall, but unfortunately, I didn't clear the wave, so the minions were actually walking up to the tower as I got past the tower line, where he couldn't chase anymore, and I died to the minions. It was pretty unfortunate. Because I was about to get out, and it was about to be the funniest thing ever.
We saw Cam, and then you just went off Cam, and all of a sudden you died. And I was like, I know he didn't hit a second Viper shot. Ticking should have stopped, right? Right.
Yeah, I think if I like hugged the corner, it would be like the triangle of Medusa can't walk in, the minions hit the tower first, I clear wave and back, and it's fun. But that's not the play that I made.
So, in our opinion, the biggest in both sets was Enraged Moose on this Umoja. Those Rivers Rebuke. How do you guys feel he did on that Rivers Rebuke? Like splitting up the team fight so perfectly.
Yeah, so Moose he actually subbed in because our support didn't know the correct game time. So Moose is the GOAT.
Yeah, he thought it was 4 o'clock.
Well on both of those Umoja games. He hit 2, and that's all he really needs to do. It's what Umoja be doing.
Yeah.
I was so grateful to be able to have the opportunity to work with Enraged Moose on this project. It was just a fantastic opportunity, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah, I think he only did one bad Rivers Rebuke, and that was because of unfortunate timing with the Khepri phasing through the wall.
Yep, he was a failure.
He was like actually being knocked up and like glitching on the other side of the wall.
Other than that, he was sure he didn't get 5-man ones, but he was splitting off everybody, especially in the first game, going 0-0 and 11, wasn't it? And 20. I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else. But yeah, he was going insane. I mean, he just split the damage dealers off, allowed Thothus to just deal damage numbers in.
Yeah. Our Thothus is a great man.
Yeah, and then also you on the Medusa first game was really potent and really good. And then as a Sung Wukong also, you did really good into something that should out aggress you. Playing the safe pick on the Sung Wukong and able to play aggressive against the Camazons and making it work, and able just to dish out a crap ton of damage.
Yeah, I like to build full damage mostly. Yeah, I went a little bit lower this game, unfortunately.
I was very happy that our team decided to first pick me Medusa because it's a good character and it let me pad my KDA.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna climb like at least 1 to 2 spots on the tier list. And I'm very happy.
We're really excited about that. Yeah.
Tier lists are where it's at. But final question for you guys before we wrap it up. You guys are going to be going against the King's Rooks. They got a little bit of a better record than you, so I'd say maybe they are the favorites here. How confident are you guys feeling in the set? Oh, okay.
We've beaten them 2-1. It shouldn't be hard at all. They're actually awful, and we're going to beat them so easily that you're not even going to recognize them after the fact. It's going to be like you've never even met them.
All right.
I just wrote that down. I just wrote that down in my notes. So whether you eat your words or not,
they're going to be unrecognizable.
So are we gonna? Can you give us the classic PBM? 3-0, 2-0, 2-1 if we're trolling kind of thing.
We're going to 3-0 them, and it will not be hard.
Oh, all right.
In fact, I don't think we can 2-1 them because it's a best of 5. So
We made a
Best of
promise
5.
when we partnered with the Make-A-Wish Foundation for Ryu Kurg to get his win for the QSL finals, and we will not screw it up.
All right. Well, you heard it here first there. A guaranteed 3-0 coming here from the man himself, Bobby Bob Fish. And we appreciate you guys here in the interview. And that's going to be it for this cast, but don't go anywhere. We're going to have 2 more sets.
Shout out anyone?
I mean, if you want to shout out, it seems like you did shout out the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but
No,
if you'd like
I'm
any
good.
other shout outs, go ahead.
I'm good, man.
All right. Well, there it is for you here. The wonderful men
You're not
here.
going to ask Ryu Kurg?
yeah, I'd like to shout out my team for carrying me every game and sometimes letting me get really good KDAs. But besides that, I kind of just exist in left click towers, and that's what I'm meant to do.
There you go. From the hunter himself, getting carried to a QSL Kraken matchup for the Land Barons, as they guaranteed it. But you'll be able to see that here in the future. And again, today we're going to have 2 more matches coming up. We do have right here in about 10 minutes the King's Pawn versus VCats matchup going down here. And then I will be back later at 6 p.m. for the Ferryman and Meow Lovers. So don't go anywhere. We got a ton more Smite coming. But for this cast, that'll be it. And you guys have a great rest of your day and stick around for the rest of that Smite.